Welcome to my channel. If you ever felt too much or the world was just a little too loud, you're in the right place. Because what if a story you're about to hear isn't just relaxing, but exactly what your nervous system has been waiting for? This isn't just a story, it's a soft unraveling of tension, a mirror for your emotions, and a path back to the calm inside you. So take a breath, let my voice guide you, and if you find comfort here, I invite you to subscribe and stay a while, because sometimes the most powerful healing begins with a single story and the quiet courage to listen. From hiding to honoring, a journey through repressed creativity. A hypnotic story about creative fear, expression, and the courage to be seen. Her name was Mia, and she had always been full of ideas. They came to her like wind through tall grass, soft, sudden, shimmering. In the middle of stirring soup, while brushing her teeth, or just before sleep took her hand. Ideas like flickers of flame, strange and beautiful, fragile and growing. She never told anyone about them, not because she didn't believe in them, but because she did. They were too precious to risk, too sacred to offer up to a world that might not understand. So she found a way to keep them safe. In the corner of her room, on shelves, dusted in sunlight and intention, sat rows of glass jars. Each one held an idea. She would write them down on slips of paper, sometimes sketches, sometimes single words, sometimes full scenes whispered in half sleep, and gently placed them inside. She sealed the lids, labeled nothing, and lined them up like sleeping jars in mason glass. Over time, the jars multiplied. Ideas for poems she never wrote, songs she never sang, stories no one knew she had imagined. She visited them often, not to open them, just to be near them, to remember who she was when the world wasn't looking. But something began to shift. The more jars she filled, the more restless she became. She felt in her fingertips the ache to create, not just to collect. She dreamed of voices, audiences, even critics. But she would wake each morning with her throat clenched tight and thought, what if they don't get it? What if they laugh? What if I'm not enough? So she'd write the ideas, fold it neatly, and tuck it into the glass. One afternoon, a storm moved through town, the kind that bent trees and rattled windows. And as the thunder rolled low, a single jar slipped from its shelf. It fell, cracked, and spilled. The idea inside floated across the floor, ink blurred by rain leaking in through a crack. She picked it up, and for the first time, she read it out loud. Just to the walls, just to the air. But something happened. The idea didn't break. It breathed. The next morning, she opened another jar, then another, and another. Some of the ideas still thrilled her. Some felt like strangers. Some made her cry. But she read them anyways, whispered them, wrote pieces of them, let them scatter. Weeks passed. She didn't open every jar. Some would stay sealed for years, maybe forever. But more and more, she began to share. Small things. A line of poetry slipped into a caption. A melody hummed while walking to the market. A story fragment scribbled on a cafe napkin. And sometimes, someone would notice. A stranger would say, "That made me feel something." Or a friend would pause and ask, "Did you write that?" And each time, the part of her that once only collected began to connect. Because Mia learned that expression isn't about perfection. It's about release. That creativity doesn't need applause. It just needs air. And courage? It doesn't come before sharing. It awakens because of it. She still keeps a few jars, not as prisoners, but as gardens, resting places, incubators for things not quite ready. But more often now, when any idea comes up, Mia picks up her pen, her paintbrush, her voice, and she begins. Not because she knows how it will be received, but because she no longer needs to hide what was never meant to be buried. Because some ideas are meant to be spoken, and some lives are meant to be lived in the light. Hypnotic Induction. Theme: creative fear, self-expression, and emotional safety. Before we begin, take a moment to find stillness. Not just in the body, but in the noise around you. Let this be your pause, your space between things. A moment where nothing is required and everything is allowed. You don't have to perform right now. You don't have to explain. You don't have to impress. You can just be. Let your breath become your companion. Soft, natural, and yours. Inhale without effort. Exhale without control. And as you breathe, you might begin to notice a gentle loosening. Maybe in the shoulders, maybe in the throat, maybe somewhere deeper, where ideas live quietly, waiting for permission to be felt. Now, if it feels right, you can let your eyes close or allow your gaze to drift inward. And as the outer world fades, imagine that somewhere inside you there is a quiet room, lined with shelves, soft light, and jars. Some of them are old, some are new, all of them beautiful in their stillness. Each jar holds something that once passed through you. An idea, a flicker of truth, a whisper you didn't know how to say. There's no need to open any of them now. Just notice them, like watching old friends sleep. You don't have to force anything. You don't have to be ready. You only need to be with. Because sometimes, when we simply sit with what's been hidden, it begins to open all on its own. So now, as you breathe and rest, let your story begin. Let it move through you, not just as words, but as a soft remembering of what has always lived inside you, waiting to be seen. So the key meanings of the story. Number 1, creative fear often stems from protection, not inadequacy. Mia doesn't hide her ideas because she doubts her worth. She hides them because she believes in them too deeply to risk rejection. This highlights how creative suppression is often a form of self-protection, not laziness or lack of ambition. Number 2, ideas are alive. They need expression, not just containment. By storing her ideas in jars, Mia preserves them. But over time, she realizes that creativity isn't meant to be achieved, it's meant to breathe. When she begins sharing, even softly, her inner world transforms. Number 3, the fear of being seen is often a fear of being misunderstood. Mia's hesitation isn't about failing. It's about the ache of not being received. The story gently acknowledges that being seen is vulnerable, but reminds us being misunderstood doesn't erase the value of what was expressed. Number 4, small acts of expression build trust with the self. When Mia begins to share tiny fragments, poems, melodies, scribbles, she isn't seeking applause. She is rebuilding her inner trust. This mirrors how authentic expression doesn't demand attention. It simply asks to exist in the world. Number 5, creativity doesn't need to be ready. It needs to be released. Not all jars are opened, and that's okay. Some ideas are incubating, some are resting. But the key shift is this: Mia no longer hides from them all. The act of beginning is the breakthrough. And once again, you've done beautifully. By simply listening, you've given yourself the gift of stillness, of presence, of healing, and maybe something inside you has shifted, subtly, gently, like a curtain parting to reveal a little bit more light. If the story brought you peace, clarity, or a moment of rest, know that there's more waiting for you here. I'd love for you to subscribe so you can return whenever you need a soft place to land. For now, let that feeling stay with you. Let the story echo through the quiet, and return anytime you're ready to listen. Until next time, be well.